All right, Kiara Ruth, we're here for our podcast that we've been trying to coordinate for a couple of weeks, and I just kept dropping the ball. So thanks for your patience with me.
It's okay. It's okay.
I appreciate it. I mean, we've been, I spoke with your husband on the podcast a year or so ago, and have followed a little bit of y'all's journey. And we've connected, we've had dinner together, and just was interested to have you on the podcast and to talk a little bit more about who you are and what you do. So why don't you tell the whole world in 30 words or less? No, I'm just kidding. Who you are and what you do.
Oh yeah. Well, thank you so much for inviting me onto the podcast. It's such a pleasure. Loved having dinner with you and your wife. We loved it. Well,
Same.
just a little bit about me. I'm Kiara Ruth, as you said. A lot of people call me Kay, and I'm originally from Little Rock, Arkansas. I moved to Raleigh a little over 11 years ago. And I'm a mom and a wife. I have an 8-year-old. His name is Miles. During the day, I work as an assistant, but my little side creative thing that I do is I write on a little blog called the Bananamoon Blog. And there I talk about all things lifestyle, food, travel, relationships. I share stories about my past, etc. And so, yeah, that's just a little bit about me. Oh, and I love signature lattes.
Wait, what's a signature latte?
Like the
Like
latte
fancy ones?
yeah, when you go and they have like I mean during Christmas they probably had like a gingerbread
Yeah.
cinnamon latte, always one of those with oat milk. So
So you're not particular, just as long as it's fancy, that you can go for it.
yeah, Terrance laughs at me. Terrance is my husband. He laughs and says, "You're paying $7 for a latte,"
It's a
and I'm like,
signature.
"It's a signature."
I love it. You said, what did you say? You said a little blog. I don't know if your blog is little. Like you've got a lot going on with that. Like how long have you been doing that?
So I actually launched in 2019, I think. And I held myself accountable by hosting a launch party. Uh, I was like, the only way I can hold myself accountable is if I put it out in the public and invite people to come and celebrate. So I launched the blog. And so, yeah, it's been going on for a few years. Of course, there are highs and low seasons. Some seasons I'm writing every week, posting, and then some seasons I'm not. So, yeah.
What was the catalyst for starting a blog?
Um, I think it was one of those things of me really being at home. I was a stay-at-home mom for a long time, up until my son was in school. And I really wanted an outlet to be able to write about what I was doing. So I did kind of turn my Instagram into like this mini blog where I would post a picture and I would share about our days. And my Instagram caption was very long, which is very rare. And so I said, you know what? I want to be able to have something that, Miles can go back and look at and be like, oh, here's what I did during this time and that time. I'm actually adding my blog to my wheel so that it'll keep going on and on and on, so that as more and more of my generation begins to come along, they'll always have something to go back to. So,
Oh, that's fascinating. I don't think I've heard that before.
yeah.
All
I'm
right.
ex-
And so what is like is there a main vision with the blog or a main purpose behind the blog, or what's your goal with it now? I'm guessing it's probably changed a little bit over the 3 or 4 years that you've been doing it now.
Yeah, it has. I mean, I think originally it was very focused on Miles, being a mom, and, I would write through the lens of him. And so, for example, I would go to the museum and we would look at art pieces, and I would write what he told me about the art pieces, and like really dissect that, or share about like the things that he says. And then it became more so about me sharing my story. I have a very interesting story, and so just kind of sharing about my life experiences and how they've like shaped my motherhood and my marriage, and so it's just a little bit of everything. I think I talk about food, just coming from a background of poverty, and like what it means to eat now and like really enjoy the things that I eat. And so it's just a little bit of everything. I think I kind of just go across the board.
Okay. Okay. And you grew up in Arkansas. and
Yes.
now live in North Carolina. When did you move to North Carolina, and when did you move to Raleigh, or were they at the same time?
They were at the same time. So I moved from Little Rock, Arkansas in, you know, August of 2012. And I moved to Raleigh August of 2012, and I've been here ever since. We haven't lived anywhere else.
Okay. Okay. And I think I touched on a little bit with when I spoke with your husband on the podcast about
Mm-hmm.
what brought you here. But for everybody that's hasn't heard that episode and just checking us out today, what was it that brought you guys to North Carolina?
Terrance's job.
Okay.
So, I had planned to come to North Carolina a year after I was supposed to come, but things kind of sped up. And we found out that we were expecting Miles, and I was like, okay, probably should come a little bit earlier. And so, yeah, we kind of sped everything up, and I was here a year earlier than what I
Okay.
was supposed to be.
Yeah. Okay. And I mean, you have, I would imagine, an interesting perspective on this. And, you and Terrance are married, and he was he was running for Raleigh mayor for all
Mhm.
the time that I've known him.
Yeah.
And that puts you in an interesting position, I would imagine. So, I mean, I'd love to touch on any of that that you'd want to talk about, and just share how that process has been and what that's been like as a major part of your life here locally. But I also want to know, with so many people that listen to this podcast from other areas, from outside the state, that maybe are considering moving to Raleigh, maybe some of the challenges that you all faced when you were moving here and just getting acclimated and just getting to know people, maybe some things you've uncovered through your own just trial and error, or from being in the political spotlight of ways to help other people that are moving to this area get acclimated. But I'd love to talk a little bit about that with you and hear some thoughts if you have any.
Yeah, well, Terrence did run for the mayor of Raleigh, and unfortunately, he did not get the seat. But it was an experience that him and I, and even Miles, we will always remember. We met people from so many parts of Raleigh, from so many different spectrums, from the richest of the richest to the poorest of the poorest. We've been in both spaces. And so I'm so, so grateful for the opportunity to be able to serve Raleigh in that way, in a sense of us being in community with the residents. And that's what was the foundation of Terrance's campaign, was leadership over politics, community. And so we were really, really engulfed in that. Like, we lived our lives in the community for these last 2 years. And while the results did not, in the way that we would have wanted them to, we truly, truly believe that, Terrance was able to make a print in the city. And that was good for us.
Mhm.
And so, speaking of like struggles and things like that, when we first entered Raleigh, I entered the city, I was an expecting mom. I was literally a month and a half pregnant. I did not know one soul here. And one of the challenges I felt was, coming from a place where all of my family was, and moving somewhere and I did not know anyone. I think that was just like the hardest thing for me. But one of the things that's been so great about North Carolina is our parks. We have multiple places for us to go, and like, go to the park. We can go for walks, and I wasn't afraid to like go up to someone and be like, hi, and I know that's not everybody's like personality, but I think that's what I needed to be in that time, so that I can create a community of my own. And so I think that's one, a challenge for me, moving from such a small place like Little Rock, Arkansas, to what I would consider a big city like Raleigh. It felt very large to me. And so I had to find ways in which I could create this inner community for myself, and really put myself out there, because Terrance was going to work every day. He got an opportunity to meet people. And I found myself a lot of times spending time with his coworkers and their wives. And so sometimes that can be, if you don't have like your own thing, it can feel like you're being drug along with,
Certainly.
whatever. Yeah. And so I ended up, just kind of doing that. I think learning the city, in the different rules, like I said, I'm from Arkansas. So, every year we don't have to do certain things that North Carolina has to do. And so just getting really acclimated to that, I think those were some of just the challenges that I faced. But as I began to learn the city more, visit parks, find my community, I think I was able to really, we really love the city. We love the city so much. My husband ran for mayor. So
I think you win in the love for the city area. Oh, hold on one second. Mm-hmm. My microphone just disconnected. I'll have to edit that part. Hold on one second. Let me make sure I'm still here. There we are. All right. You all right?
Yeah, I'm okay. I just feel like, the thing is kind
of the opposite. Yeah. Fine. Yeah. I'm like, wait, that's not where my part goes.
Yeah, it's not where it goes. But we'll figure it out.
Well, yes, I think that as far as loving the city goes, that is you win. You win with your community that you found when you first moved here, and maybe is it similar now? Or are you still plugged into those same communities you first got plugged into when you first moved here, or have things evolved and changed?
Yeah, I think with anything, where you start out, you kind of grow. Sometimes you outgrow, sometimes people grow with you, sometimes spaces that you're in grow with you, and then sometimes you leave them behind. And I think that's the beauty of being in such a large city. You start out maybe with one group of people, and then you kind of find the people who are really like you, and then you find people who are very different, but you guys have similarities, and so you want to move forward with them. And so I think, our friendships and things like that are based on the seasons that we're in. We met so many people on the campaign trail. We have friends now who are in the political realm, and so I think that's kind of how it's evolved.
Yeah. So what are some ways that if somebody's listening to this right now and they're thinking about moving here from Arkansas or from wherever, and they're looking to get established or meet some new people in the community, and maybe they're a little bit more shy, they're not going to walk up to somebody at a park and just say, hey, what are some things that you might encourage people to do that are looking to, meet some new folks here in this area, being such a large city?
Yeah, I think, I think I would hone in on my interest. What are the things that you're interested in? So if you like biking, maybe you should consider learning about Oaks and Spokes or joining Runologie. You like to be outdoors. There are people who are runners who love to bike. If you're a mom, and you love outdoors, I would consider getting plugged in with Triangle Family Explorers, or if you're a mom in business and you want to be around like-minded women, the Women's Social Club might be a good fit for you. Or if you're a mother, you're a stay-at-home mom, and you kind of can get away sometimes, but then sometimes you want to have play dates, I would encourage a space like Thrive Motherhood. And so I think it's really just figuring out what your interests are and going for it. So during that, when I first moved here, I really wanted to get plugged into like social events and things like that. So I started out with a small group. It's called the Where to Be Society. And so they would pop up at different restaurants. We would go and try the menu and, and things like that. And that kind of got me, acclimated to the temperature that I wanted to be a part of. And then I kind of started making friends out of that, and that just kind of rolled into some other things. And now I'm like plugged into all those groups that I mentioned earlier. And so I think Instagram is your friend. I think these groups on Facebook, they're your friends. You get an opportunity to read what people are doing. If you are a blog reader, those things can really be helpful too. And so I think really figuring out what your interests are and aligning yourself with those kinds of things really help you get acclimated.
Yeah, I coach real estate agents, and one of the things I coach them on, and I think this conversation applies to anybody that's moving to a new area as well. But one of the things I coach them on is I'm like, just figure out what you like to do, and then go do it. And then, and also go to something like meetup.com. You can go to meetup.com and find a group for almost anything. And if there's not one there, start it. But I'm pretty certain there's going to be one there. Hell, I was on Meetup earlier today looking at different entrepreneur groups and different networking groups that happen outside of my own, just to see what else was out there.
Yeah.
Because when I started my group in 2007, I don't think there were many things out there helping new people to Raleigh get connected.
Yeah.
There might have been, but I think I missed it. But
Mhm.
now they're everywhere, and
Oh my God,
they're on
everywhere.
Instagram, they're on LinkedIn, they're on Facebook, they're everywhere. They're in person meetups. So I mean, your advice is spot on. What do you
Yeah.
want to do, and then find the people doing it. They're
Yeah.
there.
I'm reminded of one time I went to this event. I'm not I have a black thumb. If you give me a plant, it is going to die. Period. But one of my friends, she was really into plants, and my son loves plants. And so I knew I wasn't very good at plants, and she was having this thing called the Raleigh plant swap. And I was like, I don't know. I don't know. But I went, and I was able to meet so many different kinds of people. And so I think also too, there's value in being around people who are not like you, even though you might be uncomfortable. Like, I'm not a plant person, but I went to this event and I learned so much.
Mm.
They had great snacks, like all these different things. But it really helped me, get out of my comfort zone, meet people who are not like me, because I think there's also value in dwelling around people who aren't the same as you.
Oh,
So,
no doubt. No doubt. Just today, it's kind of perfect timing that you just mentioned that, but just today I had pop up on my task list, my to-do list for today. And I must have set this weeks or months ago because I didn't even remember setting it. But back at the beginning of December, I was doing a lot of planning for this year. I don't like
mhm.
to show up on January 1st and not know what I'm doing or
Yeah.
what the year looks like. It's just kind of who I am, but I also don't want to do a whole lot of work the end of the year. So in the
Mhm.
beginning of December, I start doing my planning for the next year. And one of the things I put on my calendar was once a month to seek out and attend 2 events outside of my comfort zone. And
Yeah.
and exactly what you just said about the plant exchange, that that's not the group I found, but I found a couple that I normally would say no to. And I
Yeah.
put them on my calendar to go try it out this month to see who's there and who I meet, and just, to do something different. And the second thing that's funny is when you're talking about having a black thumb, I'm looking over to the side now in my office, and I have one of these, I think they're called money trees. They're these little plant money
Oh
trees.
yeah, the Palia.
Is that what it is?
I
They
think so.
literally take no care. Mine's dead.
Megan, if you're listening to this, she's over the Raleigh plant swap. I think it is called Pilea or Palia, and I learned that from her. So,
Oh, well, we're going to tag her and have her chime in. But this thing takes, at least from what I Googled, it only needs like 2 ice cubes every week or so, and mine's dead.
wow. Yeah, sometimes they say you just kind of got to leave them alone. Like, treat them like you don't want them, and then they they start to spring up. Give it water every now and then, but don't listen to me, guys, because
That sounds like terrible relationship advice from a college-aged male.
then
I
they
mean,
come running after you.
that's right. Just ignore them. Oh my goodness. All right. So let's talk a little bit about, some of your favorite things to do around Raleigh. When you're out and about with Miles, you mentioned museums and arts and things, but what are some other things you like to do?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, the parks here are awesome.
Yes.
I
Yes.
mean, we have a park everywhere. Any intersection, every neighborhood, etc. Those are always really fun to go to parks. We do really enjoy, going to the indie bookstores. I think those are really nice, just because you can kind of like go and you just have that experience where if they don't have it, they can order it. And then, it's just the fun of like saying, oh, well, can you order it for me? And they're like, sure. And so the indie bookstores are really
Do you
fun.
have a favorite one that you go to, or one that you spend a lot of time at?
Yeah, so one of my favorite kids bookstores, to all the parents out there, is Read With Me Raleigh. It's right downtown, and it is such a cute store. And then for just quick and easy adult books that Terrance loves, it's So. It's downtown as well. And so yeah, those are two that we really enjoy, and that we really like. So yeah, that me and Miles, our thing to do together is to go out to eat together and go for walks. He loves his scooter, so we do a lot of that. um I'm not. I feel like for the parents who really enjoy being outdoors, Triangle Families Explorers on Instagram, shameless plug. She has whatever you want to do outside, she's done it.
Yeah.
She's a great resource.
That's Cheyenne, right?
Yes, that's Cheyenne.
Yeah, we just had dinner with her a week or so ago too, and I love what she's doing.
Yeah, so she's such a great resource. We spend a lot of times in the museums and, doing things maybe indoors or, parks like that. But Cheyenne, she loves being outside. And so when Miles needs his outdoor fix, I will look at her Instagram. She has so many options for kids and adults. Everybody can do it together.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's great stuff right there. I was thinking you and I had chatted a little bit before we started recording, before we started the podcast, and this is totally going off topic, but it just hit me while you were talking. Sorry, I'll kind of switch gears a little bit here.
Okay.
But you told me about a funny story about somebody you met, or an interesting story, another girl from Arkansas. And I was thinking about it when you were saying Arkansas earlier. I wanted to circle back to this because I don't. All right. I don't believe in coincidences. I just don't. Like, I believe in, the universe and God, and I believe in things that happen for a reason. And I don't always know what that reason is, but I don't believe things just kind of coincidentally happen. So when
Yeah.
when you were telling me about that story, I was like, oh, there's something there. But would you share that with us?
Yeah. So, because we live in the world of Instagram, and I've met some of my closest friends on Instagram. A girl who went to school. Well, her and my brother never went to college together. Um, but you know how you kind of like go to other colleges for parties and stuff like that. They met
Do I?
there. Yes. And so she DM'd me and was like, "Hey, are you in Raleigh?" And I go, "Yeah, I'm in Raleigh." And she said, "I think I might know your brother." And we had like a mutual friend. Because, once someone says, "Are you in Raleigh?" you're like, go to their page and like, how do I know this person?
Yeah.
A mutual friend. She's like, "I know your brother." Long story short, we ended up meeting up. I can't remember if it was for drinks or coffee or a walk. I can't remember. And we were friends for like a year and a half. And I knew her name was Kiara. My name was Kiara. And then our birthdays rolled around. So we were friends for a whole year. And then our birthdays rolled around. She was like, "Oh, my birthday's May 14th." And I was like, "Oh, wow." I was like, "My birthday's May 15th." So we got Kiara and Kiara, May 14th, May 15th. Fine.
Hmm.
That's fine. So then this was like a year and a half ago. No, 2 years. No, a year and a half ago. I saw she had an S. And I was like, maybe her middle name is like Sharon. Let's just put that out there. Her middle name. My middle name is Shantez, which is my aunt's and my dad's name together. Long story. And then my friend Kiara, her middle name is Shantice. So we have Kiara Shantice, and then we have Kiara Shantez. Kiara Shantice is born on May 14th. Kiara Shantez is born on May 15th. So the story gets weirder. So we're out, we go to the farmer's market, and I'm like getting gas. And I heard her say something like, "Girl, Kenyatta something, something, something." And I'm like, "Are you talking about my mom?" And she was like, "No, that's my mom's name." I was like, "Stop,
What in the world?
stop." So her mother's name is Kenyatta, and I think she spells hers with a D, Kenyatta, Kenyada. And my mom's name is Kenyatta. It's Kenyatta.
It's insane. That's so crazy.
That is just beyond me. Like, I'm
Yeah.
like, what?
All right. So what's it mean?
How?
What's it mean?
I don't know.
Yeah, we don't know
Maybe
yet.
you ask Brooke.
She would know.
She would know.
She would know.
But I think, that was, a season where, that friendship was meant to happen in that season. And I was just like so blown away by all of the coincidences, all of the things. I was like, this is just rare.
Wow.
And
Were
so,
you
yeah.
Were you struggling with any self-love at that point? Were you having a hard time having a friendship with yourself, and then the universe needed to introduce you to your other self?
I know, right? I know, right? Maybe, but it was just crazy. And people don't believe us when we're out. They're like, "What?" And we share the story every time.
Yeah,
Drinks
you gotta.
involved. We're like, Rick, let me tell you about us.
You gotta. Oh my goodness, I love it. No, thanks for sharing that with me. I wanted to know more about that, and when you had mentioned it before, I thought it would be fun to dive into it.
Yeah.
All right, so let me see. I kind of want to wrap things up. I want to be mindful of your time here, and I have my favorite question to ask is, if you had some friends or family that were coming to town, or somebody who's listening to the podcast today reaches out to you and says, "Hey, I'm coming into town for a weekend. What do I do? Where do I go? How do I get the vibe of Raleigh in 48 hours?" And this is where you're either going to, make someone's day or break someone's day. And I gotta give you like 3 to 5 things to do here.
Okay. So because I feel like I love Raleigh. I don't know if you can see this. I don't know if you'll be able to see that, but I have a little list. And
Okay.
so always when people ask me, I look at their profile, see what type of person they are. And I kind of go from there. So, but if I had to
So you have
choose,
this list all the time, or you made this for today? Like this is a list you've got on your phone?
oh, this is a list. I can send it to you when
All right. Yeah, please do.
to put it in the notes.
You know what? I love asking this question because I think I've gotten great feedback from other people that are like, you know what, I came to Raleigh for a weekend and I actually went and did what so-and-so said to do. And I love that they can see the town through their eyes, what their favorite things are, and they can connect to it or they can't. I love that. But you know what? I use this list. Like when Brooke and I have a date night or we have something coming up, I'm like, hey, Kiara told me on the podcast, we need to go check out this place for dinner. And I haven't been there. So we go.
Yeah. It's just so helpful. And then you kind of go and you're like, hey, I liked it. Or you go and you're like, we're gonna try somewhere else on the
Yeah,
list.
exactly.
And
And
somebody,
that's fine too.
yeah, that's the beauty of exploring the city. So if people are telling me that they're in Raleigh specifically, if I had to recommend coffee, I would say I'm going to give you a few from each category. Coffee, I would say Idle Hour. I would say Sola Coffee Cafe, that's in North Raleigh. Idle Hour is closer to downtown. I would say Iris Coffee Lab, that's downtown. Um, and Jubala is just an easy favorite for everybody.
Yeah.
You can just it's just an easy favorite. And then Heirloom is a sweet one because it's like in the core of downtown. Now, a hidden gem that I go to is Vadiri Chocolate. They have a black and white coffee shop inside of there.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
and you can get hot chocolate, like chocolate melted into a cup and you like drink it if that's your thing. Now,
I'm
if
there.
someone's staying out by the airport, Fount Coffee and Kitchen, hands down, so good. For breakfast, I would say the New York Bagel Spot on Falls and News. Line's gonna be long, but it's worth the wait.
Wait. I'm unfamiliar here. What?
Okay,
Yeah, where
you,
is it?
you know where Lafayette Village is?
Of course, yes.
Before you get to Lafayette Village, there's a shopping center. I think there used to be a Kroger right there,
Oh,
but
yeah,
they
I do know
changed
where
it.
that is.
Yeah, that New York Bagel Spot is so good.
For real. All
It
right.
is. I always get the sausage, egg, and cheese on cinnamon raisin bagel.
Oh, damn.
It's good. It's
Okay.
good.
All right.
um, so yeah, their Union Special Bread is also good for breakfast. A place at the table if you're looking for an opportunity to be able to, you know, be in the heart of the city, learn about the community there. A place at the table is such a good place. It's a pay what you can spot. Solar Coffee again. Um, I mean, there's so many. Brunch, brunch. This is I feel like it's a place that people don't go to often, but Standard Food and Beer is a brunch spot. They
Okay.
have breakfast tacos, they have breakfast salads. I mean, it is a really good place to go for brunch. I'm only going to choose one from there. Whew, lunch, so many. I'm not going to do lunch because then,
What about, do you
but
have a date?
go.
Do you have a date night list on there? Because I got a date night
Yeah.
coming up. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm sure y'all been to Crawford and Sons. Crawford and Son is good.
Yeah, just 2 weeks ago we went back and it was amazing.
City Market Sushi. That's my favorite sushi spot. There's so many. We're keeping it in Raleigh, so that's why I'm like, oh,
You know,
Stanberry.
yes, of course. And you can go outside of Raleigh if you like. I call this Connect Raleigh because this is an unpopular opinion to many people, but
Okay.
Raleigh incorporates everywhere else to me. So except for
Say
Durham.
that too loud.
Except for Durham. Durham's different, but everything else is Raleigh to me.
Yeah. Cortez is a good one. Excuse me, if you're looking for drinks and like a vibe, like Cortez, and I think they have like a CBD drinks, hemp drinks there. If that's your thing. Uh, in Durham, I really love Pizzeria Toro. That's a really good spot.
I don't think I've been. That's been on my list, but I don't think we've been there yet.
You gotta go. So
Yeah.
good. M Sushi. They just
Yeah.
opened out in Fenton, and then
Yeah.
there's one. So yeah, I have breweries, drinks. Here's a date night drink spot that you have to add to your list: the Green Light. Have you ever been there?
No.
So it's right across. Remember, I was talking about Read with Me Raleigh. It's right across from Read with Me Raleigh, and you can only go if the green light is on, and it's behind a bookcase.
Oh, all right. That's cool. All
Yeah.
right.
So there's that. I mean, dessert, Hayes Barton. Have you been to Hayes Barton?
Are you kidding me? My kids asked to go like at least twice a week.
Yeah, so good. I mean, I can include the list in the thing for you guys, but I mean, Death and Taxes. I mean, we could just keep going on and on. There are so many good spots.
Okay. So let me ask one question to really put you on the spot then, to tie this all together.
Okay.
What place in the area, in the triangle, best represents, maybe you, like if you're going to go to one place where you feel really, really at home, no matter the time of day, is there a place that kind of speaks to you in that way?
That's a hard question.
Yeah, it is. It might not be answerable.
It is, but it depends on what I'm doing, right? So like if I'm with Miles, Mufu, that is like his place. He loves dumplings. He loves just being there. And so I love the opportunity to be able to love on him well by taking him there. And so I feel like I can really be myself. That's where him and I do our date days, or whenever me and him go out. With Terrance, our spot used to be Bendito, but it's closed down. They shut it down. And so that was like our spot. Like we were like, when are we going again? And so that's something that him and I are working on in the new year. We're trying to find our spot. We have friends who always go to Crawford and Son. That's their spot. Like no matter what, people come into town, they're going to Crawford and Son. And so we're still figuring it out. So I don't want to like answer it.
Yeah.
But if you have me and Terrance on the podcast again, we'll have our answer together.
I can't wait for that. Maybe we could do one with like the four of us. We'll just get
awesome.
I think my best listened to podcast is probably the one where Brook took it over. So I think having her on here usually helps my ratings.
Yeah, Brook she's amazing.
Yes, I agree. But our spot used to be, and it's been a while since we've been there, but we used to love Gravy right there downtown on on Wilmington. And we spent so much time just sitting at the bar there, having dinner, just talking with the staff, and became really close friends with the bar manager at the time. We were spending a lot of time there, so much so that when we got married, we invited / hired him to bartend our wedding. And he came to our wedding and he ran the drinks, and and then we got to know his wife, and that was our spot. And chefs have changed, I think, a couple of times over the years there. The food's still really, really great, but the vibe shifted a little bit from when we were spending a lot of time there. So we haven't been back in a while, but that was our spot. So I think we're kind of searching for a new one as well.
Well, just one quick thing about Gravy. I was getting my hair done. And because where I get my braids done is right next door. So if anybody's looking for braids,
all right, add it to the list.
Locks or anything, I go to Yvette's salon in Diamond. There she does my hair. Well, anyways, I was in there, and the cook brings Diamond lunch sometimes. And while I was in there, he was like, "Do you want anything?" And I was like, "Sure." So I got an opportunity to have some shrimp Alfredo pasta from them, and it was amazing.
Yeah, good.
So it is a really, really, really good, solid spot. So yeah, I would have to. We haven't been in a very long time, but me and Terrance, we're gonna hone in on our spot. One last thing about food. So during the campaign, we were looking for places that we could go, like right before events, especially if we're going to house parties or something like that. And we would go to Good Day, Good Night. Have you ever been this inside of the hotel?
Yeah, I have only been for a cocktail one time. I haven't
Yeah.
eaten there. Yep.
So we liked it because it was low key. And it wasn't like no one, if you weren't a part of the hotel, then you wouldn't normally be there. And so we could go, especially in the height of the campaign season, we just kind of wanted quiet time,
Mm-hmm.
and we would go there for fries.
Okay, that's good to know. No, good spot. I will get that back on the list. I love that little section over there. Dram and Draft was right there, and I was in there for with a client meeting one time months and months ago. Heck, it might even been over a year ago. So I need to put that back on my list. That's the beauty and the hard part about living in this area, the Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill Triangle area, is that we have a really incredible, I believe, food cocktail scene. I mean, we have so much to offer here, and it just keeps getting better and better every year. The more people that are moving here from other areas, and there's this local food's amazing, but there's other chefs coming in here because they see the foodie scene that's here. I don't think I'm ever going to be able to try all the places. Like, I'm going to go broke trying. There's so many great spots that I love that. And it's a tough one. So I use my podcast as I go back and listen to episodes and be like, okay, where are we going to eat tonight? And that's how we pick a place.
Okay. One last question. What is y'all's go-to Chinese takeout spot? I have one, which is why I'm asking you.
Oh man. Okay.
Takeout only. Takeout.
Specifically Chinese?
Yes.
We go to a lot because it's kind of close to where we live. Red Pepper Asian, which is on New Bern Ave, just outside of downtown, before you get to Nightdale. Okay.
So we go to Bean Sprout, and it's near NC State. And when I tell you, it is so good. Their fried chicken, everything is so good. So if you ever are downtown and you want Chinese takeout, Bean Sprout.
Okay.
It is very unassuming. You know what I mean? It's just one of those places where you're like, okay, but then you get the food and you're like, ooh, this is good.
We can do that. Is 5-star strictly Chinese? Do you know? I don't think it is. I need to look it up.
Place that people used to enter from the side. Like, is it on? Yes. We have not eaten there, believe it or not, but we've heard amazing things about that place.
It's so good. I love it. One of my buddies has been involved with that place for years and years. I was trying to decide that would be my answer if it's strictly Chinese, and I'm not sure if it is or it isn't. But man, this has been fun. Now I'm hungry.
I know. It turned into a food podcast. I'm so sorry.
No, don't be sorry about that. We never have to. You apologize for that. And I'm doing this challenge right now, where I'm one of the parts of it. There's a whole bunch of different components to it, but one part of it is I intermittent fast until about noon every single day. And then I only eat between like noon and 6 p.m. So I'm in this window of time, I'm getting as much food in as possible. And I'm now ready to go eat. So I appreciate you for getting me warmed up.
Well, Chuck, it's been great. Thank you so much for coming on. I hope that I was able to shed some light on places to eat, how we live our lives here, Terrance running, all the things. I hope that I was able to shed light on all of that. So yeah, such a great time.
Yeah, no. This was fun. And I think that if you'd be up for it, maybe we can do it again sometime and we can go even deeper, get to know you a little bit more. Or what would be fun is maybe we have you and Terrance on, maybe we get Brook on, and the four of us have a couples podcast. I haven't done one of those yet, so that might be cool.
Yeah, that'd be so fun. I would love that.
All right. And I was going to say we could bring the kids, but I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. So we'll just keep it to us.
Miles would be saying stuff, and we don't want the people on the podcast.
My 6-year-old will be dropping F-bombs and everything else, but usually ask permission, which is fun. And when he gets, I'll leave it with this, but he'll injure himself and be really upset. He'll be like, Dad, can I say a grown-up word? And I'm like, okay, one time you can do it. He'll say whatever it is. I'm like, you feel better? He's like, a little bit. I'm like, okay, then it worked. That's how I parent. All right. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I look forward to you and I speaking again soon.
Okay.